Good morning, friends. It's Sunday, the 16th of February, and we're back to do the tags for our altered envelope that we made. So, just to embellish it a little bit, I cut out the name of this songbird and put a tiny little piece of netting under there, inked up the words, and glued them on top. So we're ready to go. This is what we have left from the pages that we were working on to make this. Sorry, first coffee of the morning. My creativity juice. Now, the thing I want to say about this project in general is save your little bits that you cut off. There's going to be stuff that you can make tabs out of. There's going to be little things you can fussy cut. So keep these things. You know, like this, you might go, no, but you know what? It makes a great tab. Okay, so this is what we have left of the page, and I went ahead and cut the bottom off because it had this big butterfly, and that butterfly is gorgeous for fussy cutting. So I will put him in my little box of scraps that I'm keeping. Okay, so I'm going to back this one of two ways. You can either use a piece of file folder. This is tea-dyed linen texture resume paper that I got at the thrift store, and I tea-dyed that all up. So this is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to just glue this down. You don't have to get crazy with the glue if you're stitching, because the sewing will hold the layers together. But if you're not sewing, make sure you get a good bond. Okay. Now, after you tea dye paper, it's never square. So don't bother even trying to match up an edge. I'm going to try to figure out where I put my knife. I need about 5 of these. That's what I need. And I'm going to just cut off the extra paper. And save your cutoffs because they will come in handy. Maybe not today, but soon. Okay, so the first cut I want to make is 3 inches from the top. Okay. And then I will cut off the extra paper. So it'll be 3 by, about 5 3/4. 5 5/8. I know, it's got to be frustrating to watch me cut because I'm so slow. Except when I'm fast, and, you know. make a mistake. Okay. So I'm just going to trim this bottom off. So this is about 3 3/4. And the first one I want to do is let's do 2.5 inches. And the next one we do, let's do, what is this, 3 1/4? I'm gonna go 2 inches this way. That leaves 1 3/4. Okay. Now, I was going to trim this down, but then I thought again, no, because I'm going to use this Paper Studio tag punch. I'm just going to slide it all the way in there. This one you got to center. Not sure that I intended to do this one, but it's done. Not really. Missing some paper at the top. Well, I will just have to round that like that. Works for me. Okay. If you don't have one of those fancy tag punches, that's fine. You can round your corners. You can just trim off the corners like we're going to do with this big one. I just happen to have a 3-inch wide tag here I can use as a template. You can just round all 4 corners with a corner rounder. Whatever works for you. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, and again this is entirely optional, is I'm going to stitch around. Oh no, I want to do the corners first. I'm going to use the quarter inch side. I find that having those little rounded corners just makes it a lot easier for pulling tags in and out. Okay, now I'm gonna sew. I'm kind of on the fence. Should I make you watch me sew? Yeah, why not? You can hear me swear. I'm going to show you the foot I use. Oh, it's dusty. I don't know what this would be called. But in the center of the foot, there's a little arrow, and that shows where the needle comes down. So I aim to have my paper run along this slit. So that's the distance from the edge that I sew my stitching line. I like a longer stitch length. I'm on something. Oh. So I lengthen my stitch to 2.8, 2.6. And I like to use a gold colored thread, so this is a Gutermann color number. I'm not seeing a color number. Oh, here it is. 865. I also slow my stitch down. I have a little switch that makes my stitch speed. It can go really slow or it can go really fast. I put it in the middle so it slows it down a bit. Okay, and needle down. Because when you come to turn corners, you want your needle down. So you can, the needle holds the paper in place and you can just lift the foot. And spin it on that point of axis. Make sure I hold these threads out of the way. And I'm just going to go a couple stitches over my previous line of sewing and reverse. So I don't have to tie any knots. I'm just going to cut this one off. And I'll do the same thing with these other little ones. So tomorrow's Family Day, which is a relatively new holiday. I don't think you could really call it a holiday. Reason to have a 3-day weekend. I believe it's national now. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sure somebody will tell me. I remember when the federal government first played out this we're going to have a holiday in February thing. It was originally Heritage Day. I'm not sure when or why it changed to Family Day, but I think it's probably a good idea. So I was in the store Friday, I guess it was. And this is the first time I've seen this, where they had a section of, you know, Family Day stuff. And it was movies and books and games and that kind of thing. You know, sort of a hibernate, cocoon with your family kind of thing. So yesterday I was out for a country drive with old Doug, and I said, you know, we don't really have any traditions for Family Day. We should make our own traditions. You know, what's the traditional Family Day meal? He suggested macaroni and cheese. That wouldn't be a bad idea. But I woke up this morning and I thought, you know what? I still have a turkey in my freezer from Christmas. So I'm going to check in with my son and see if he wants to come over for turkey. I have a feeling he'll say yes. I have a feeling he'll bring his laundry. That might become the Family Day tradition. I hope a lot of families are able to get outside and maybe do some, you know, skating or tobogganing. That won't be me. I'm not what you would call outdoorsy. I love being outside in the summer. Not so much in the winter. I didn't learn to skate until I was 45, I think, before I learned how to skate. Which is hard to believe that somehow I managed to get a Canadian passport, right? I think I heard something about some event locally, some kid-friendly event for families to go to. Saw that there's a lot of auctions booked for the holiday Monday. None that I was interested in. But nonetheless, I don't know if I like this one. Might have to redo that. Okay. Let's give these bad boys a little ink. I believe it's a holiday Monday in the US as well, is it? I've been getting emails about President's Day. I don't know if that's tomorrow. maybe somebody can tell me, like I'm getting emails for, you know, like Joann's and stuff in the States. So does that mean stores are open on President's Day? Nothing's open here. Like maybe a pharmacy, part of a pharmacy will be open, but nothing else. And one more. The color ink I use is Gathered Twigs. I like it over the antique photo that I see a lot of other junk journalists using, and the reason why is because I find that the antique photo has kind of a pink tone to it, where the Gathered Twigs has more of a greenish tone to it. So I like that better, especially with these. The Edith Holden images being, you know, there's a lot of green for the flowers and plants and trees. So it's just a better fit in most cases as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so I want to make some reinforcements. Now, these are the self-stick kind. So I'm just going to ink these bad boys up. And then I'll have them to use on lots of projects. I think this ink pad's getting dry. Might be time for a new one. My crafty crush is going on a cruise. She's leaving me today. She promises she has Wi-Fi on the cruise ship, so we'll still be able to chat. I'm just going to take these reinforcements and place them over the holes. This one I'm not a fan of. I think I'm going to make a tab for it. We get a couple out of this. Okay. And this paper folds good, so that's a bonus. Right. Oh, I hear that cat. And we're getting close to that 7 o'clock draw time. Okay. So this little monkey little monkey can go right in there. This needs a hole. More or less there. Okay. So that's, I think this tag would be too big to fit in there. No? Oh, maybe I'll switch it out like that, and then there's a variety of tag tops in there. Okay, now we need a big tag. So, what I've got is a 4x6 index card. Actually, this is a recipe card. And it was white, but I sort of lightly inked over the whole thing, so it looked a little dirtier. Now I'm just going to go back in and do up the edge a bit more. Just give it a little more vintage look. Now this 4x6, I don't want to cut anything off of it because it has this dark brown edge around it, which matches perfectly with the overall color scheme. But if you're using an index card that doesn't have a line around it, you might want to trim off, oh, 1/4 inch, because this is not going to fit all the way in. It's going to fit in like that. So, I have a couple of tabs that I already punched out using this tab punch. And I've already inked it up. So I want it to go right there? Or do I want the violets facing? Maybe I want the violets facing. And this was just a scrap of the paper from this page. Okay, now we have some options for the holes on tags. There's purple in here. There's green, there's blue, a little bit of pink. So we've got some options. I'm just going to grab my jar of seam binding. I got a lot of seam binding. I've got like 3 jars like this, and every time I see seam binding, vintage seam binding, not the new stuff because it doesn't crinkle, but every time I see seam binding, I buy it. And then I give it a scrub and then leave it to dry. Is this too dark a blue? I think I like this dark blue. Yeah. And then I have lots of choices. You can use anything you want, actually. String is good. Ribbon, lace. But seam binding is something that I have lots of, so that's my preference. I think I cut this too small. Too short, I mean. No, I think it's gonna be okay. Now, I'm leaving these tags plain. If you want to fussy cut some images and stick them on, I'm just going to leave these plain until we see where this whole thing goes and what's left over. And then if I have some little images that I want to use up, I will come back and decorate these tags. This one's got a little purple. Whoop. This is really wrinkly. I think this one is really vintage too. The weave is very loose in it. my V very much. It doesn't look very V-like. Yeah, this one either. I should have taken my time. Alright, there's that one. And let's do a little pink. Or I could do a darker purple. Maybe I'll do a darker purple. And your tags don't have to be different, they can be all the same. No fear there. All right. I think of purple as a spring color. Purple, yellow, pink. Now, got a couple options. I can, on these two tags, I can put like a little eyelet through them if I wanted to, or I could leave them just plain. I feel like I'm just gonna leave it plain for now. So that is our first project, a stuffed altered envelope with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tags. So thanks so much for watching. We're going to come back and do a next project real soon. Take care.